Welcome to ZombieChickenTaco.com. I'm X8105. This is video 6 of lesson 1, using tools within Radiant, trying to accomplish a zombie map. Today we're going to cover a couple of the last ones, do a couple of refreshers, and we're going to actually combine a few of these things that we've learned to make a hedgestone. And I might take you into putting it into a prefab, otherwise I'll try to do that next one. But to make a hedgestone would be actually fairly simple. First thing we want to do is we want to make sure our usage is still set to all, and we're going to scroll down through our textures. Let's find ourselves a nice stone texture. There's a couple ways we can do that. I think good stone textures up at the beginning of this. No, there's just plaster. We'll just go with plaster for now because it's nice and gray. To make something like a stone hedge or a gravestone, we're going to want a block, but that worked out perfectly for me. If not, I'm not in my top view if you notice, but Control Tab gets us to our top view. We're going to make that total of 16 units wide. It's 4 units, or 8 units wide by 2 is 16, and 48. That's a fairly decent size headstone that'll come up to about the waist of your character. Your eyesight is they're about 64 units tall. I'm not sure what the exact numbers on. I usually just put down a model in my map by going to actor, ally, whatever. Put the very first one on the list. That'll give us an idea of what the character is. Whoop, that is a little bit big. We want to drop that down to a 32. So we're going to hit Shift Tab, bring that down to it was 64 units high. We want to bring that about 48 units high. That looks good enough. That's a fairly large headstone for somebody who died not too long ago in a zombie attack. Let's use some of these tools that we've learned. Let's go ahead and start off with, let's do the clip tool. We're going to clip an edge off of here. Right click, control right click, control right click, puts our 2 lines, and the pink is on the right side. Actually it looks like the left side, but if you look at where your cut is, the cut's upside down, so it would be the right side. You hit enter, gets rid of that. Now we can do it on the other side, but I'm going to do it backwards for a reason. Puts the pink up here on the wrong side. If you look in the 3D view, it's showing you which side it's going to keep, so we're not going to do it that way. We're going to hit escape, and we're going to control right click and do it the other direction. Camera, get out of there please. Okay, a little bit, put that up there. Alright, now we're going to hit enter, and the pink side's kept, and now we've got a little bit of a hedgestone. Now if you look, that side's missing. The reason for that is earlier when I told you to start mapping with caulk, the reason for that is you probably never see the bottom side of this hedgestone. No sense in drawing it. So what you do is you go back, hit U for used textures, and you can go back to caulk, because that's why hopefully you started off with a caulk brush. I just like saying caulk a lot. So now that we've got these all plastered off minus the bottom, it looks a little bit thick to me personally, so I'm going to bring that down, and I want to keep that center to origin. It just makes for better prefabs. I'm going to hit the 3 key to cut that down in half, and put that right there, hit the 4 key, and we're back to normal. Now you can either A, come in here and create a plaque for it if you wanted to per se, and you can actually put a texture on that plaque. Change our grid to 3, and we're going to change this to a caulk, and we'll change the texture later. We're going to put that inside. The reason for that, and I do apologize, some people are probably going to ridicule me for this, but if you went to surface type, and the proper way to do this is usage, tools, and we're going to do decal, no draw decal. No, God, where are you at? There you are. It's the yellow one, no draw decal. What that does is it allows us to have a hedgestone, and it allows us to put a texture on the front of that, like a special whatever. If you import one, or if there's one that you find that you want to put on that, say it's like Billy Bob's 1921 to 1925, whatever. That's the proper way to do that. We're not going to put a texture on the face of it right now. I'm going to go back to textures, usage, all, because we don't want to put a caulk texture on that one per se, because this is already a structural brush. We can come in here and make it non-weapon colliding, but right now we're going to stay in structural. Now say I want to put a cross on the top of this. How would you do that? I would usually probably select this brush, draw a square in the middle, rotate my camera to my 2D view and bring that up a little bit. Yeah, we're getting there. It looks a little bit too fat, I think. We could probably tone that down a little bit. Scale it down past a 3 to a 2 in half. Go back to a 3. That's on your grid on your keyboard. That'll allow you to center that out a little bit. If we go to the front view, probably want to do that there as well. Select it, shift left click, scale that down, number 2, back to number 3, and it's right smack in the middle. Now we want to put that actually as the cock by hitting the U key, back to used textures, click cock, put that back there. Why? Because it's not a decal, it's not an actual little texture we're putting on top of another texture. So with that piece there, I'm going to select it. The reason why I'm doing this so quickly is because I haven't gotten into the texturing tools, but you can select the whole brush, or what I did was selected each face by hitting Control Shift and selecting each one of these. And if you hold down the left click and move over without re-clicking again, it'll select everything you touch. So that's why I do. I select one and deselect, select, just holding that Control and the Shift key at the same time. So we're going to put the plaster back on there. And now for the fun stuff, we want to put a cross on the top of this. To do that, we can either A, grab this and hit the space bar and then adjust a new piece, and then hit the space bar and do it again. But what happens to our texture is it gets a little funny there. What happens is they're cut up, because when you move a brush, it keeps the texture settings. So we'll get more into texturing later. That is a hedgestone. Look at that. That is a hedgestone. I'm going to create those, make that all one plaster. You can go through and cock the back sides of these, preferably, but if you make it all in, if you make it all in cock in the first place and you texture what is already cocked, you won't ever have to move a piece and put it back the way I just did. That's pretty much it. You have a headstone, and I will see you in the next mapping session.